Hello, hello. It is I, Jihan. How we doing, nerds? How we doing? So, it's finally here. Yeah, guys, it's finally happening. We're gonna learn about some folklore and we're gonna do it together. Yeah, we are. Yeah, yep. That's the thing that's really gonna happen. Yep, yep. Probably gonna dox myself a stream. I've tried. I've tried. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Philippines Mentioned is a stream series where I basically stream things to do with my new life in the Philippines. And I've been doing this since I knew I was going to be moving here. Whoop, 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 whoop. And I'm particularly interested in folklore because I'm interested in folklore everywhere, right? So because I'm interested in folklore everywhere, of course I want to learn about Filipino folklore. Woohoo! This is a learning stream. I'm not here as an expert. I am not here teaching you. I genuinely am learning about these things, and you're taking you all along for a ride with me. We're going to be using some varying resources. I found some awesome websites we're going to be using. I'm going to be using some of my Filipino friends as resources too when there's less information out there, and a couple of books that I have as well. So we're going to be working through quite a lot of things. Just 2 seconds, everyone. And we're going to also hopefully do a little bit of comparisоning to folklores that mean something to me before now. Hopefully it'll be fun. Hopefully you'll enjoy coming along for the ride. It's going to be interspersed with our league streams, so to break up the amount of league themed stuff. So Clown Fiesta and Philippines Mentioned are going to share a day of the week. That's Mondays. That's today, I hope. If it's not Monday today, I forgot to go to work, so that's a problem. um, yeah, and it'll be kind of our more just chatting streams along with the art streams on Fridays. But Friday streams very rarely will happen, so yeah, take that, nerds. Just bear with me a moment, guys, because it's loading. It's loading. Oh my goodness, just 2 seconds. I'm just going to put the back on while I check something, guys. I really should be working now. Woohoo. All right, so today we were going to be looking at just one, but as with many things in the Philippines, a long and storied history of colonialism and a lot of different regions with their different ethnicities and folklores has led to this one being too complicated. It's split into two separate ones. So we're going to talk about it together, and we're also going to talk about why we could have been able to stream it as two separates. It was some rough research for me, guys, because you guys know me, I'm lazy. I'm super mega lazy. I'm hoping to get some of my Filipino streaming friends to pop on with me some weeks for some of these. So hopefully some of them will have some desire to be here. I still think we need to get Caius when I start looking at anything vampiric of any kind. Right? I feel like that's got to be a way I make that happen. Surely. There has to be a way. No? 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 Okay, so the picture you should see in front of you. Oh, oh my goodness.
Hello.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, am I too loud?
that scared me. I was not expecting it. Suddenly, an astral. A, hang on. Where is he? He's tiny. Let me make him a bit bigger. It's because he was tiny.
Tiny.
It's because he was tiny for a stream where he needed to be tiny, but we don't need tiny for this stream. There we go. You can be a little bit bigger. Yeah, welcome to the panel. Astro is a full-on bona fide Filipino. He's like,
Yes, sir.
yeah. I'm gonna be honest here though. He's probably gonna know less than me.
Yeah, just a heads up, people. I know little to know of my own folklore, so I am a slightly disappointment to the Filipinos out there. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. He's gonna learn with me. We're gonna learn together. Learning is
Yes.
fun. Okay. All right. So we're gonna be learning about now. Okay. I looked up the pronunciation for this 4 times, and I swear to you, it is written everywhere different on the internet. So I'm going to apologize to the Philippines before I even begin, because I have always said it Kapre, right? But that is apparently only about how 50% of the internet think it should be said. Filipinos in my chat, if anyone wants to forward to me pronunciation guide, I'll add it to the votes on the internet. But we're also going to be looking at the Agta. And we're going to be looking at that because, because we get to do a cool etymology lesson. And you know I like etymology. Not to be confused with entomology from my friend who thought I was talking about studying bugs the other day. Context clues, guys. Origins word, etymology. And this little picture here is of the fellow whom we is going to be studying today. Look at him. And you will notice he has a cigar hanging out of his mouth, which... What? We're going to get to that later. We will. I haven't read the explanation. I have just found a source that is going to tell me the explanation later. Because my first thought was, why is this dude always sucking on a cigar? There's got to be a reason, right? There has to be a reason. Always with a cigar. Okay, now hang on. Let's test the Filipino. Astro,
Yes, sir.
do you know why he always has a cigar?
Oh my God. Okay, so I think I remember studying about like Filipino folklore back in high school, but I generally forgot why this mythical creature always has a cigar with him.
Know how he only thinks he remembers studying?
Yes, this will be a recurring pattern, so I am so sorry.
Chat, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, how have I ended up engaged to someone with no interest in folklore? Well, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to make him interested in folklore. Okay, so when we go through these folklore things, we're kind of going category by category, but again, categories is when you try and match, I guess, westernized categories of folkloric creatures to another culture, there are patterns and trends, and we'll talk about that, but it's going to be a bit arbitrary and there will be some debate. So we're starting with what one of my books refers to as demons. I guess everything else kind of refers to them as ones that don't really fit anywhere else, but a lot of the other categories will be a lot more logical. This is almost like a don't belong anywhere else category, which I realize as I'm saying it out loud makes it not the smartest category to begin with. But I'll be honest, I'm literally starting with it because it's the first category in the book that I'm using as a guide. So we're starting there. Now, we are going to start with the Kapre. And one of the main things that I came across in the research is that descriptions really, really vary from region and tale. Okay, so these are like tree protectors, I guess, like forest protectors, but not like nymph-like spirits. They usually portrayed as quite giant. So giant, and being tall and kind of dark and very muscular. They're always smoking cigars and perching on the branches of trees, but they are portrayed as semi-shape-shifting in that they don't shift their shape, but they can shift their size. So while you'll sometimes see artwork portraying them as like the size of a large tree, you will sometimes see artwork that portrays them more human-sized as well. Okay. And lots of the lore is them being kind of trickstery. So lots of them luring people into bad situations, using sounds as traps, using flowers as traps, but also portraying them as like seductive characters. So they would lure women with flower petals because bitches love flower petals. And, you know, to a not great end. I love how children's folklore stories say, as their bride. And the reason we're looking at these at the same time as Agta is often you'll see people saying that they're the same. Okay. And I did a lot of research on this because I wanted to be right. And yes and no. So Kapre is actually a fairly new piece of terminology. And much like a lot of stuff in the Philippines, it kind of amalgamates a whole bunch of different ethnicities, similar stories into one creature. So Kapre is, an actor is Kapre. They are the same thing essentially, but Agta would predate Kapre along with lots of other similar regional versions of them. And then in the modern day, we kind of ended up with people saying Kapre. But Agta has persisted. Many of the other regional ones kind of have just been absorbed by the Kapre umbrella, and Agta has persisted as its own separate whole still as well. So as I go through here, we're kind of use them interchangeably for that reason, but hopefully any Filipinos watching can understand why I have just amalgamated it into one to try and simplify things. Learning about anything cultural in the Philippines is complex because Filipino culture as a unified culture is a really recent thing. It's a colonial thing. And obviously all cultures have similarities, and cultures that were as physically close to each other as different Filipino cultures will have more, but that doesn't mean that they use the same languages, same words, same everything. Okay, so specifically Agta, we're talking about kind of Cebuano, and then pretty much everywhere else we'd be talking about for the most part, but there's some overlap, so just bear this in mind as we go upon this journey, guys. Oh, there is also like two sets of law with Agta. I thought this was really interesting. Okay, so Agta has the version of the law that kind of matches it directly with a Kapre, but there's also like this idea of the Agta being more, I can't think of the word, more secretive, hidden than Kapre in general. So there was a piece of law I particularly liked, which was the idea that to see the Agta, you had to bend down, put your face between your legs and look at it that way. What? Just seemed like an excuse to get people to bend over, if you ask me. But that's great. They also smoke cigars, and also lots of like lore of them seducing women and kind of putting them into bad situations using those flower petals. And this I particularly like. To prevent this, its privates must be scalded or poked with a flaming object. Cauterized castration. Lovely. We're going to come back to the testicles later. Can't believe I'm saying that's true, but we are. We are. The other thing to remember is folklore often gets changed for like children's texts, and because I'm learning mostly in English, a lot of my texts are aimed at children, not at adults necessarily. So sometimes I'm missing some of the more adult content. So if any Filipinos do want to add in, I will appreciate it a lot. Like a lot. I think this is pretty cool looking dude though. I don't know what's going on here because they look kind of happy partying it up with him. I don't know if we're supposed to believe that he's bad from this artwork, to be honest, because I'm like, man,
They're having a party.
They do. They look like they're having fun. All right. So first of all, we're going to look at this website. We're going to use this website a lot. It's called Aswang Project, and it has loads of really cool resources for learning about folklore. It's actually one of the things that first inspired me to start learning about Filipino folklore, because Filipino folklore is very cool. There is so much we can go into. And they actually released a documentary about the Kapre, the tree dweller. We're not going to obviously watch all of it because that would be kind of rude, but we are going to watch some of it, and I will link it as well in the chatterino, and it will also go into the description after the stream as well. Okay. Let's have a look. If you notice the scent of tobacco in the Philippine jungle, see the glow of embers near a giant tree, or you feel the eyes of an 8-foot beast on you while you sleep, it might just be the Kapre. What is perhaps the simplest creature in Philippine mythology? That is terrifying for me, that this is allegedly the simplest, and it took me like half an hour to even get my stream resources loaded up. It turns out to have a very complicated past. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. We're going to dive in. No, I'm also going to talk about the Agta first. Okay, so here we're getting with it going. So, okay. Kapre is a fairly new term, okay? And the key point I want to raise here, because this is one when I was researching, really confused me. The Agta is not a variety of Kapre. It's like one of many of these very similar tree-dwelling mythological creatures that then got classified under this umbrella term of Kapre, when in fact Kapre was just like a recent sort of invention based on the like original lore that these all had. Okay. But I like this. Okay, ready? A creature stood and talked to them a distance for 25 meters before they ran away. The creature was black and twice as tall as an ordinary man. Said to live in mangroves and swampy places. Ooh. And the actor have been reported to be seen in a bunch of different places. Let's see. They smoked a cigar and can usually be seen in a standing position. Lots of knocking trees in the way of things. Apparently knocking trees in the way of things is just any kind of tree-dwelling demon's idea of a real good time. As a protection against the Agta, a bottle filled with mercury should always be carried because they are afraid of mercury. Extreme. I, as a scientist, highly advise against the carrying of a bottle full of mercury anywhere.
Don't do it. Just don't.
Okay. Wow. Hey. Nice little picture comparison. Interesting. Okay. So let's take a little look-see, shall we, at this little documentary. We're not going to watch the whole, well, I'm not planning to watch the whole 15 minutes with you guys, but let's see how we go. Let's see how we go. So valid, even in the modern day. I feel like Filipinos are spawning new folklore every day.
If you notice the scent of cigars in the Philippine jungle, or see the glow of embers near a giant tree, or maybe you feel the eyes of an 8-foot beast upon you while you sleep, it might just be the Kapre. What is perhaps the simplest creature in Philippine mythology turns out to have a very complicated past. In this episode, we will attempt to peel away the layers that comprise the origin, history, and evolution of the Kapre.
Okay, I'm be honest. If the Aswan Project says I'm saying it vaguely even close to right, I'm gonna say that I was right, and the 50% of the people on the internet who disagree are wrong. That was so dramatic.
The Kapre has been described as a giant, dark-skinned, bad teeth, hangs out at trees and loves to smoke cigars. Sounds like one of my uncles. Kapre is really into
Be serious, Filipino researcher, man. You can't be like, could be Kapre, could be Tito.
Interesting to me because it's almost the experiences with the Capres are almost and the stories are almost the same. Like you smell the tobacco and there's something huge outside your window on the trees.
A nature spirit. It just sits in a tree and smokes a cigar and doesn't really pay attention to you except looks really evil. That's about it. I've never heard of a Capre harming anyone. It just likes to watch.
Some residents from Mambucal, this is the place, told us, whatever you do, go ahead and do whatever you need to do. But in the big circle right next to the entrance, there's a bend over there. Don't pass there because there's a black capre in there, and they're bad. That's the first time I had heard that there were the white capres who just smoked in the trees and let things be, and the black capre that would actually hurt you.
Perhaps the most famous Kapre is Mr. Brown, rumored to live in the 100-year-old balete tree near the front entrance of Malacañang Palace. In 2011, President Aquino even gave the tree heritage status. Or maybe you've heard the tales of how Emilio Aguinaldo, a Filipino revolutionary and former president, had a Kapre who protected him.
I've seen his movie. If he did, that would explain why he didn't make any decisions for his mother truck himself.
Rumors suggest that the Kapre was in fact David Fagan, an African-American soldier who defected to the Filipino Revolutionary Army led by Aguinaldo. Unconfirmed reports suggest that Fagan was decapitated by hunters, but others believe
Jesus. H. Christopher.
he lived out his days on the Aguinaldo estate in Cavite and would be seen wandering the grounds at night.
I remember from our first interview that I never knew exactly what a capre did. It was just this huge creature that was up in the tree smoking. I've read after that it is based on the Indian word kafir, or is it South African?
One puzzling aspect of the Kapre is where the name came from. It is generally believed that it came from the Islamic term kafir, meaning non-believer or infidel. But exactly how and why this happened is unknown, especially since the Islamic population of the Philippines didn't use the term. I decided to go back to the beginning and trace exactly how the Kapre got its name. The word kafir comes from a pre-Islamic Arabic term meaning to cover seeds with earth or soil. In the Quran, it meant the denial of truth. Muslim historians in South Asia later used the term kafir for Hindus, Buddhists, and Sikhs. By the 15th century, the word kafir was used by Muslims in Africa to refer to the non-Muslim African slaves sold to European and Asian merchants. Meanwhile, major changes were happening in the Philippines. In episode 1, we talked about the Hindu and Buddhist.
Hello, Artifiction. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. We're learning. We're learning.
Influences in the region. But by 1390, Muslim traders had spread Islam through much of Southeast Asia, including the southern Philippines. Later, in 1565, the Spanish began setting up colonies and converting the native populations to Christianity. During this time, the Spanish brought in slaves through Portuguese merchants. In historical documents, the slaves brought through Acapulco to Manila were referred to as Negroes, while the slaves brought from East Africa through India and Malaysia were referred to as both Negroes and Capres, borrowed from the Muslim term kafir. By the mid 17th century, many of these slaves were revolting. This is what sparked a theory that the Kapre was an invention of the Spanish to stop natives from
They come in with good. I'm gonna be honest, Artie. The way this is going, I think this is only gonna get more messed up.
assisting Negro slaves when they escaped. But there is no historical evidence to prove this. In fact, use of the word and foreign slavery began to steadily decline from 1640 to 1820. It would be another 100 years until the word Kapre was used to describe the creature. But before we get to that, let's take a look at the origins of the Kapre's physicality. Last episode, we talked about the animist beliefs of the pre-Spanish Philippines and how they believed in good and harmful spirits. Contrary to popular belief, evidence shows that they also believed that some of these spirits could appear in physical form. Early reports on folk beliefs of Filipino tribes have several accounts of various giant black spirits. But it was the Ilocano Pugot that smoked cigars in a tree before the Kapre took ownership of those characters.
So this is what I was just talking about when I said about the Agta and the Kapre, and how we weren't going to separate them out because it's too hard to. Okay. And we're actually going to talk about some of the others later on. We're going to talk about Pugot later on and a couple of the others. So bear in mind these names. We're going to be coming back to these in later streams.
Took ownership of those characteristics. So how did the term Kapre get applied? Spanish literature written in the Philippines at the time showed that the word Kapre had evolved into a term describing an uncivilized or uncouth behavior. This descriptive word became the general term for the Pugot and any similar creature. Their phonological alteration pronounced it Kapre. The early 20th century was also the first time that
The phonological thing is there being no f in Tagalog traditionally. So the p, just like in Korean, that you would have like certain letters that are replaced, and it's actually f and th as well in Korean.
creature was reported to be smoking cigars and pipes. Tobacco was introduced to the Philippines in the late 16th century by the Spanish. But by 1782, a government monopoly turned tobacco into a strictly controlled crop on Luzon and Mindanao. Farmers were given quotas to reach and made very little profit, while corruption and bribery enriched government agents. The world-famous Manila cigar was a luxury reserved for the upper class. However, in 1882, the monopoly was abolished, and tobacco became available to anyone who could grow or buy it. In the Ilocos region, families would share foot-long cigars. It's only natural
Culture of smoking around the world and how much it has changed shocks me.
that the Kapre would also indulge in this leisurely activity. Then, in 1940, the Abacada alphabet was officially adopted. The alphabet did not contain the letter C, which saw the spelling of Kapre changed. Around the same time, comic artists would complete the physical transformation into what we know today. They took artistic license with the folklore and gave life to the imagination of storytellers. Recently, there has been a resurgence in Philippine comics, and I think we can expect the evolution of the Kapre to continue.
Kapre.
For the record, I am working on getting my Filipino good enough for us to look at Filipino comics on stream, but you guys are going to have to wait because that's going to take some Filipino level on my part.
In Trece has appeared, I think, once or twice. I've just portrayed it as one of those knowledgeable contacts of Trece. As far as I'm concerned, the Capres have been around, even before the Spanish came here, so they know a lot about the land. I can't talk much about it, but there is a story that I've been meaning to do specifically for the Capre, and I haven't gotten to that bit.
It's interesting to see how modern artists interpret the Kapre. In the past, supernatural beliefs were used to ease psychological burdens. Lately, stories have been using these cultural constructs as a societal mirror, exposing the true monsters. Yvette Tan's short story Kulog, where an unhappy girl befriends a young Kapre, is a perfect example.
He sees this child growing more and more miserable every day. He sees how she's being treated at home, how her mother won't stand up for her. And then one time it goes too far. One time he can't stand it anymore. So he he tries to save her. And then everyone trying to save her, he shows himself to the neighborhood, who until then thought that the house this family lived in was haunted. They didn't know that it was the Kapre just trying to kick everyone out. So everyone sees the Kapre, they automatically think this monster's harming the child. So they hurt the Kapre instead of going for the actual monster, which is her father.
Even with modern interpretations, the Kapre is still used to explain mysterious events.
The first time uh, the psychic made a circuit of the house, and she went into my room and said, "Oh, who lives here? Who stays here? Oh, it's my nephew. Because there's somebody here. There's a creature here who has been trying to get your attention for quite some time." And she went into a trance. Afterwards, my aunt showed me the automatic writing that she did. She went in trance and communicated with the Kapre, and it revealed a lot of things to her. I don't know if it's true because she can't really read the handwriting, but it says, here are some of the facts about the Kapre. It says, his name is Simon. He's wanted to live with us for quite some time. If we deign to let him live with us, he'll protect the house. He'll be the house's guardian spirit.
The Kapre has deep animist roots that predates foreign influence, and only recently underwent the physical transformation into what it is today. Smoking, at the end of the tobacco monopoly, was used as a regional identifier. The Bagot and similar creatures were unified under a single name, while the creativity of comic artists drastically changed its appearance. Its name stems from a pre-Islamic term meaning to cover with soil. It then showed up in the Quran. Later, it was used by Islamic scholars to describe non-Muslims. Borrowed by the Spanish, it described some of the slaves brought by the Portuguese, where it then evolved into a term to describe a barbaric or uncivilized behavior. This descriptive word was applied to the creature. Their phonological alterations saw that Kapre was pronounced Kapre. Finally, the adoption of the Abacada alphabet in 1940 saw the word spelled with a K instead of a C. Even though much of the Kapre's evolution is due to foreign influence, it's important to remember that
That is a hella cool art design for a
its origin and ownership is truly and uniquely Filipino.
I think because of colonialism, of how the Spanish made us think that we were less than we actually were, and how the Americans may or may not have reinforced that consciously or unconsciously.
consciously, and they did. They pretty much destroyed Asia. You guys know my very strong opinions on American meddlement in Asia.
We
Pretty much,
Filipinos
yeah.
tend to think of anything local, anything of themselves as automatically inferior, and we need a white person to say otherwise. So it's changing now. Now people are learning to love the Philippines on its own terms. It's a slow process, but it's gaining traction. But until recently, it was always it. White person says it doesn't exist, therefore it doesn't, because they should know better.
And the mere fact that I'm talking English this way goes to show how much of an influence other culture has been on us. I think it's important to see where you came from, just so that you can figure out whether you want to continue that or to depart from it.
I think more and more every day we are coming to terms with the deeper parts of our being colonized. From the very beginning, we are Filipinos, we're proud to be Filipinos, but we still go and have McDonald's type of hamburgers, even if we do go to Jollibee. But yes, in terms of our songs, in terms of our poetry, etc., I think that the Filipino is embracing, is going back a lot more and trying to find things that are a a lot more intrinsic is the word, I don't know, that is indelibly Filipino, and you cannot ignore the animistic side of the Pinoy. You just can't.
Actually quite good. We did watch it. Okay, this is gonna be linked. You guys should definitely go watch some of these. These are amazing and really well made and properly researched, which I actually enjoy. I think that the colonization and the foreign approval thing really hits me, because one of the things that really bugged me about Astral when we met is we hung around with some Filipinos and a lot of Americans, and the Americans would say like quite, in my eyes, quite offensive things about Filipinos, and the Filipinos would all just kind of like agree. And I'd be like, no American should be getting on their high horse about this shit. Like, no,
Yeah,
call this shit out. What are you doing? And I was so shocked that they just played along with it, I guess.
we're just like, yeah, meh.
And I mean, like, kind of prodding Astro to be a bit more proud of being Filipino. Like, it's not so much as not being proud of being Filipino, because I totally understand growing up somewhere and not feeling like you connect with the culture of where you're from. Like, I get that. It's more the weird idolization of Americans here. Like, I apologize if there's any Americans in my chat who are offended by this, but America is kind of a dumpster fire. And it's not a new thing that it's kind of a dumpster fire. And like, no one idolizes my home country, quite rightly so, because it's kind of a dumpster fire. For some reason, in America, it's almost like, yeah, but it's America. They must know best. And I feel like this just encourages American defaultism. You know, the idea that the American moral stance is correct, the American cultural stance is correct. If an American has decided it's correct, it's like the standard that you're all meeting. And I don't actually agree with that. Like, I strongly feel like we should tell more Americans to be quiet. The adults are talking. And yeah, it does bug me a bit here that like Filipinos will just assume that the Filipino perspective is wrong and the American perspective is correct. Like, what the fuck? No. We do not default to Americans being correct. Trust me, bro. Okay, let's continue on our journey with the Agta and Kapre. So, similar to Kapre, the Agta is also a hairy giant spirit that lives in large trees, but he is not shy of showing his romantic side. He's known for luring females with flowers. He drives them crazy. Drives them to suicide. So what we're seeing is the convergence of convergence of different mythologies. A lot like how we saw Greek and Roman mythologies being converged into the individual ones. We're seeing the same thing here. I know there were others mentioned, and I haven't included them today. The reason I've included the Agta specifically with the Kapre is they are basically copy and paste in terms of their mythology, whereas the others, there are some differences. So and I decided to try and draw a line somewhere, otherwise we could have like a 12-hour Kapre stream alone, to be honest, which is pretty wild. Let's have a look. So they're mythical creatures in Filipino mythology, similar to the Kapre. Tall humanoid creatures with dark skin. You can see how much the like artist, when he's talking about the changes, you can see how much the artist renditions have changed over time. Most common in Santal ballet trees, depicted as being naked and smoking a rolled cigar, which sounds like the life, to be honest. Let's go for it. They play practical jokes on humans and are said to lure and kidnap women with flowers. That is separate to practical jokes, I assume, because I'm not sure luring and kidnapping women is a practical joke.
That's not a joke.
Hey, bro. So funny. The fishermen not to go out in the water, to fish and instead stay on land. They don't take drastic measurements to bread. Okay, but I can see how that would like form as a myth, right? You are an island nation, very fishing and boat based. You also get typhoons. I can totally see how like pushing trees down to block the coast as a tropical depression is building up into a cyclone.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of understanding it's just the winds building up and that as the winds get stronger, it should be a sign you stay the fuck home, you attribute it as some kind of benevolent creature that is stopping you from going out in the dangerous storm, I can totally see how that would happen.
It's a sign.
We will continue on the Agta Kapre journey in just a moment, guys, but we are going to take a little ad break first. I'm going to have new ads soon, so keep an eye out for that. For now, let's go with our tried and trusted. Enjoy Planner while it still exists, guys. Hello, my name is Just Jihei, and you might know me from such classics as Kidnapping Filipinos, Platonic Men in My Basements, and my iconic attempts at scuff-free streams. Wow! Yes, you heard it, scuff-free streams. After many years of work, tireless effort, I have created a product that can scuff-free streams and sprays it right in your face. So if you are fed up of scuffed streams, chatter saying such things as, "Have you tried turning it off and on again? Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Your mic is muted. Game volume too loud. Model lagging, and more," then please purchase Scuff Be Gone. Scuff Be Gone is the product you can spray in your face and never have to worry about scuff ever again. Scuff Be Gone's retail price varies from region to region and has an excessive price gouging addition. No guarantees are made of Scuff Be Gone's ability to actually remove scuff. Guys, I'm back. Let's continue looking around. Okay, so we were talking about the warnings and how it's logical. Okay, here we go. Interesting. Let's have a look at the Kapre in general. Cryptid. I love the word cryptid. Phenomenally tall, long-legged, god type of hairy humanoid. This website looks like it's got lots of terrible information on it. We're not even going to include it. Bad. Have a look at some of the art. Interesting. Okay. Now. Hello, Phantom. How you doing? How you doing? How is you doing? You doing good? Doing good? I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing good, good. My name is G. Hey. I'm in such a good mood. Oh no, my arms have disappeared. Oh no, guys, look. That's so funny. I need to fix that. Oh, okay. I don't think you can see it, but look, I got floaty arms. Let me fix my Filipiniana. Oh no. What a hilarious problem. No, I'm the cryptid. Okay, so as well as the physical book that I kind of used for my intro at the start, I have this wonderful book. And so these guys come under giants, monsters, and large creatures in this book. The Kapre is a well-known creature in Philippine mythology, huge monster associated with forests and mountains. I will link to this book, by the way. It's on Kindle Unlimited for those of you who use it. Yes, I know Amazon is evil. But yeah. So for playful behavior, especially when travelers who are not expecting it, can modify its surroundings, making it more intriguing and having enthralled generations of Filipinos. The Kapre is a unique blend of local beliefs and storytelling traditions. Known for its large body, thick dark hair, and earthy scent. You're learning some Filipino bad words. Filipinos don't even have bad words. How dare you? How dare you? Who's teaching you bad words? I just suddenly realized, which Filipino is teaching you bad words? Do I need to like rough them up a bit? Nah. Friends, oh no. No. Anya. What? How bad? Is it bad words plural or bad words singular? Is it the bad word Filipinos love to teach people? Because they do love to teach people a specific bad word. Words, I know. It's bubble. Yes. I learned my first, well, I didn't learn it from it. I enjoyed my first Filipino bad word from the Jolly Bay game. I was shook. Yeah, oh yeah. Plain Valley is a surefire way to learn bad words. Yep, that's fair. That's fair. All right, we should continue with the Kapre. I will keep chatting with you, chat, but I also need to be Capreing it up. The creature's love of smoking tobacco, obviously often accompanied by a pipe in hand, added to its unique personality. Capres resemble large trees such as acacias, mangoes, babu, and banyans. The ballet often hang around on the huge canopies. 7 and 9 feet tall. That's well over my 5'7", being the maximum height any being should be rule. This humanoid has a dark, hairy physique that smells like rotten vegetation or strong tobacco, sounding more and more like someone's Tito by the second, isn't it? Other than the between 7 and 9 feet, although I'm sure that Tito thinks he's between 7 and 9 feet. Thick, rough hair that covers its body. Others say it's a big, hairy face with a beard on top of its body. The Capre's glowing crimson eyes and thick brows make it look even more creepy and scary, especially when seen from the tops of trees where it often sits. Black skin and thick matted hair help it blend in with the bark. High up in the branches, bulk concealed with the leaves, tobacco smoke emanating. The Kapre with Bahag, which is a traditional loincloth. This makes it look even more ancient and mysterious. That's me, I'm ancient and mysterious. Some myths indicate it can turn itself invisible using a belt, which would be a magical power. Yes, that would be a magical power. Good job, book. Good job. It can go into the darkness of the forest whenever it wishes. These stories of myths about the Kapre have been around for a long time. They illustrate that it is a mysterious being that defends the forests and is still interesting to Filipinos. The Kapre appears menacing and possesses numerous magical powers. Alters people's thinking. Oh, trickstery. Skilled at managing natural forces, notably fire. That's interesting. Don't normally have tree-based mythological creatures that are good with fire. Like even all earthquakes. In folklore, there are many different stories about the Kapre's personality. Some people say they are mischievous tricksters who like scaring and perplexing people, while others say they are evil beings who could take cattle or hurt people. There are also tales of Kapres bestowing good luck or even magical gifts on those who treat them with respect or make offerings. People say that the Kapres don't like loud noises or bad language. Oh no, Phantom, you're going to be in trouble with a Kapre now that you're speaking bad language. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Legends say that if you meet a Kapre, you can scare them away by making a ruckus. Making a ruckus. Yeah, I'm going to make a ruckus. You did this to yourself? You did it to yourself? I'm sorry. Folklores tell stories of Kapres disrupting people's homes and daily lives, so people believe in them beyond the woods. People whom Kapre has entranced forget how well they know their own homes. People say that these strange individuals are the one who cause phenomena like rustling tree branches and peculiar whispering. People in the Philippines believe that the brightness of embers from Kapre's tobacco pipe is the reason there are so many fireflies in the woods. That's quite sweet. In Gen Z terms, you are cooked, yeah. You are cooked. Okay, so I think we've got pretty much a good handle on the Kapre now, right? We're good with the Kapre. We know what's going on with the Kapre. We're good with it. So I think it's time for videos. So we're going to pretend we're children now. Everyone, let's get around the campfire because I found this campfire light folklore story that we're going to watch, unless it's really lame, and then we're going to watch part of it because I haven't pre-watched it because the whole point of this stream is we're going to learn together, guys. We're learning together, okay? We're going to learn together. Yeah. Let's go. Agta.
Hello, fearless explorers.
I'm a fearless explorer. That's me. Fearless.
Welcome back to Campfire Folktales. Have you ever heard stories of giants? In the Philippines, where I grew up, we have a famous giant called Agta or Kapre. The people from my home island, Cebu, where I grew up, referred to him as Agta. So I'll refer to him as Agta throughout this entire story to keep it simple. So imagine a very tall person, almost the same height of a tree, like a medium-sized tree or a house. Their body is covered in soft, wavy, thick hair, kind of like a Bigfoot. Some even say that they have big, bushy beards. And instead of clothes like ours, they only wear a bahag, which is kind of like a special giant's underwear made out of soft cloth. Agta loves to live in large trees. Trees like the mysterious balete, or banyan tree, mango, acacia, or large bamboo, or the nara, which is the Philippines' national tree. Most of the time, he's peaceful, just sitting up there, enjoying his tobacco. And if you ever see smoke just kind of swirling in between all the leaves and the tree branches, curling around like it's got a mind of its own.
You think some Tito was supposed to have given up smoking? And he came up with this as a good story to explain why the tree that he'd been climbing up to sneakily have a little cigarette, to explain why it was full of smoke. No, that's the Kapre, not me.
That might just be Agta, stretching and relaxing. Now, they say if he likes you, he'll let you be. But if you upset him, well, let's just say you'd rather not. Sometimes when he's in a playful mood, he likes to play tricks on people. He'll make them get lost so they can't find their way and he can laugh at that. Or he'll laugh and really loud, which sounds like thunder and makes people think that there's a storm coming. And then they start running, trying to take cover. And of course, that amuses Agta. He thinks that's funny. But here's the spooky part about Agta. Every now and then, Agta might fall in love with a human person. And when he does, he's like any other person madly in love, trying to woo this person, trying to give them gifts, convince them that, to come with him, to be with him. And the thing is, when a person decides to go with Agta, they don't really go with Agta. Their body kind of stays, and then their soul is what leaves to hang out with Agta. Now, they say that if the soul stays away for too long, then the body could get very sick. But if the soul hurries back, then everything's fine and the person's okay. There's another story that my cousin once told us about his uncle. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but at the time we really believed this story. But before I tell you the story, I have to ask you this question. Have you ever seen the flower of banana plant? I know some people call it a banana tree, but it's really just big, like tall, large plant. They say now the banana has a flower, and this flower is sometimes referred to as the blossom, but its leaves are purple, and it kind of looks like a heart, but it's huge. It's like really big, and it hangs off the tree. We call it the heart in the Philippines. We'll say that's the heart of the banana. Okay, now we can get back to story. Just need to explain that real quick. Well, there's this magical banana that blossoms only on a full moon and exactly at midnight. It's normally located in a graveyard. It's said that when the heart opens, when the flower opens up, because it's kind of sealed like this, like a cone, and then it opens, it releases a sparkling black pearl, which we call the mutia. This magical pearl can give you superpowers like flying or being super strong. The thing is, the mutia decides what power you deserve. I guess it can sense your personality, and so it decides. Anyway, my cousin said that his brave uncle once tried to get the mutia on a full and bright moonlit night with his fishnet in hand. He sat waiting by this magical banana tree. Somehow he figured out which one it was. Wish he'd tell me. Anywho, as the clock struck 12, back then we wore watches. We didn't have cell phones. So when the clock struck 12 on his watch, the hearts began to slowly open, and out popped this shiny, beautiful black pearl. And just as the uncle was about to swing his net and catch it, guess what happened? A massive hand snatched it away. The uncle, in shock, looked up and saw two big fiery eyes staring at him. It laughed too. It was Agta. Agta challenged the uncle for the mutya, for entertainment, because I think Agta knew this uncle could not fight him, but the uncle, of course, was too scared. Instead of agreeing to fight with Agta, he just sat there crying, tears rolling down his eyes, disappointed, until the sun rose. Poor guy. I know he really wanted that superpower. Who wouldn't, right? Did you like this story? Did he give you the chills?
She has way too much happy energy. Okay. Now, in my research, I came across a few references to a variant of this story that I'm going to show you, and I can't find anything in English written verifying it. So I do not know how common this story is or how modernly created this story is, but you're going to understand why I had to play it with you for you by the end. Okay.
Once upon a time in a lush tropical forest, nestled deep within the heart of a forgotten land, there lived a mystical creature known as Agta. Agta was a mysterious being, covered in silky black fur, with piercing yellow eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of centuries. He was neither beast nor human, but a creature born of legends and folklore. Agta was known to the local villagers as a guardian of the forest, a protector of its secrets and hidden treasures. Legends spoke of his incredible powers and the mystical aura that surrounded him. It was said that his testicle held unimaginable power, capable of granting immense strength and prosperity to anyone
Yes, testicles.
who possessed it. One day,
This wasn't included in the other telling we got, was it?
a young and mischievous villager named Miguel stumbled upon the legends surrounding Agta's testicle. Driven by greed and curiosity, he hatched a plan to steal the mythical treasure. Miguel believed that he could harness the power of the testicle for himself and change his fortune forever. Under the cover of nightfall, Miguel ventured deep into the heart of the forest, guided only by the faint glow emanating from Agta's lair. Trembling with excitement, he spotted a peculiar black fruit hanging from a tree branch. Mistaking it for the legendary testicle, he plucked it with trembling hands and made his escape. As Miguel triumphantly returned to the village, he reveled in his newfound wealth and the power he believed he now possessed. Ignorant of his mistake, he proudly presented the black fruit to the villagers, declaring himself the keeper of Agta's testicle. But the
Sorry, declaring himself what? Like, how would you possibly think that was going to sound like a good plan?
forest did not take kindly to this act of thievery. Nature itself seemed to stir in protest, as if angered by the violation of its sacred guardian. Unbeknownst to Miguel, he had disrupted the delicate balance between the mystical realm and the human world. Days turned into weeks, and Miguel's fortune began to crumble. The village was plagued by misfortune. Crops withered and sickness spread like wildfire. Miguel, oblivious to the consequences of his actions, remained convinced that the black fruit held the key to his success. Desperate for a resolution, the village elders sought the guidance of a wise old shaman. Recognizing the severity of the situation, the shaman listened intently to the tales of Agta and the stolen testicle. After much contemplation, he understood the true nature of the black fruit and the error that had been made. With the village gathered in the heart of the forest, the shaman performed a sacred ritual. Holding the fruit high above his head, he chanted ancient incantations, beseeching the forgiveness of Agta and the restoration of harmony. As the words left his lips, the black fruit began to transform, revealing its true identity, a mango ripened by the forest's magic. Realizing his mistake, Miguel felt remorse wash over him. He begged for forgiveness, promising to make amends for his greed and arrogance. At that moment, the forest responded to his genuine repentance. The mango split open, releasing a burst of vibrant energy that revitalized the land. From that day forward, the villagers learned the importance of respecting the mystical creatures that protected their home. Agta, forgiving in nature, resumed his watchful role over the forest, ensuring that balance and harmony were preserved. And Miguel, humbled by his experience, dedicated his life to safeguarding the treasures of the forest, vowing to protect them from those who sought to exploit their power. The tale of Agta and the mistaken mango served as a reminder to all who heard it that true wealth lies not in material possessions, but in the preservation of nature's wonders and the respect we show towards the mystical creatures that guard them.
Be real with you here, guys. But what the truck? What the truck? Moral of the story, do not steal anyone's testicles. Okay? That's your take home from today. Above all the other things we've learned, don't steal anyone's testicles. Okay? Okay? Okay. Before we wrap up and I share with you some people I want you to check out, I wanted to think about like equivalents in other folklores, because one of the things that's quite universally true is that a lot of different a lot of different folklores include similar phenomenon that we want to explain. So folk tales do one of two things. They either explain a phenomenon that we couldn't explain, or they provide a moral compass to people, like a way to teach children why to behave a certain way, right? And a lot of cultures have overlap because we want our children to learn the same basic human behaviors, and in general we have the same phenomenon that historically would have been confusing to us or similar. Not everyone had volcanoes, for example, but lots of cultures did. So I was trying to have a think about ones that would be similar, and I was thinking in Korean folklore first because that's probably what I'm most familiar with. And I was thinking of the dokkabi, which are like nature spirits. They're not giant, but they can appear giant if they choose to be. But they do have that same mischievous like behavior. And interestingly, they also smoke, so their connection with smoking as well, which I thought was quite interesting because that seems like a really specifically Filipino feature to that as well, as we saw in the video. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And also Sanshin. Now, Sanshin is like a mountain spirit more than an earth spirit, but it is still a forest protector, and it is a giant, but no smoking. So I don't know. I don't know whether we feel that one's as similar. And I found UK folklore is a lot like Filipino folklore in that it's very regionalized. A lot of people forget that the population of the United Kingdom, going back in history, very much like the Philippines, was a lot of different ethnic groups with very distinct cultural behaviors. But we do have a lot of folklore about like a man of the woods. So things like Wood Woes or the Green Man, and they're all this idea of like some kind of forest spirit. But our forest spirits kind of fell into two categories. Ones that are a bit more like the Kapre, who are like humanoid tree dwellers, but also ones who were like these kind of green, more earthy, more leafy features. And of course we have giants as well. We loved giants, but giants for us in our folklore were often representatives of like the pre-human existence. Whereas Kapre, not necessarily so much, but Kapres were ancient beings of the land. So, but just not as connected to humans as we would expect. So yeah, lots of cultures have these kinds of forest spirits. Lots of them incorporate being giant. Lots of them incorporate this kind of dark humanoid figure as that forest spirit. But I think where the Philippines stands out the most is the smoking, except for the dokkaebi in Korea, obviously. Before we go, though, there are a few creators who I wanted to give a little shout out to. First of all, if we could just take a look at the Smile Atelier. And I know what you're thinking. Why are you showing us this creator and this artist? Well, there is a reason I'm sharing this with you, and that is because they do a absolutely beautiful set of trading cards, folklore trading cards that I am currently collecting. I have the meow and I have the arf swan and the Kapre, like we did today. We did the Kapre. And I have the Dimialta. So yes, please collect these. These are amazing, and I'm very happy that they exist. They exist. And I'm hoping they'll make more of them, because my gosh, are they amazing. So definitely check this creator out. But also, before I even moved to the Philippines, and I've shared Salamanca with you before, but Salamanca also does some folklore themed things on their social media. In fact, they did a whole series of folklore characters called the Mythical Pussaries, which is excellent as a name. But look at this. Look at it. Look at this little Bacanawa cat. Yes. This is a Tikbalan Duende. Yes. Oh, and here, look, this is our Kapre. Look how angry the little Kapre cat looks. How could you not love this? How could you not want this in your life, okay? So please do go and check out and support in any way you can Salamanca and Smile Atelier. I think they are excellent, and I spend a lot of money trying to support them myself. But please have a go at trying to support them as well. You can follow them on their social medias. Salamanca especially has Blue Sky. I know a lot of my followers use Blue Sky. They're both on Instagram. They're really easy to follow and support. And even if you're not in the Philippines, likes, shares, things like that really help artists get their art known, visible, seen, and out there. And I'm sure they would appreciate any exposure that they can get. If you do like or share them and you want to let them know that it was me that sent you, that's always really appreciated by me, because it really helps me when I'm trying to get people on board with projects, if they can see that I have been actively promoting people around before. It's very helpful. There's one more person I wanted to share with you, but just give me a moment to go and be right back screen, because I've messed it up. Hang on. Hey, thank you for your patience, guys. I'm not really sure how I messed it up that badly, to be honest. I don't know how I messed it up, but I did. So, oh no, I knew it was going to happen. There we go. I would like you to check out this particular streamer. They do a whole bunch of like really cool, like lore-based kind of stuff to do with the Philippines. They do other content too, of course, but this is how I found them, was through folklore kind of Philippines-based stuff. So I really kind of want to give them a bit of a shout out and a bit of a moment to check out. And in fact, actually, as we are now finished, also please support those two artists 100%. Follow them wherever you can. I beg, I plead. It will be, you do not know how appreciated it is by Filipino artists when their name gets out there. They genuinely are some of the best community I've ever had the privilege of being around. And you know I'm happy to sass a community. I'll sass a community good. But on that note, we are going to raid out today, because we're going to raid Magandara VT, because I want to raid out to someone who matches our stream. So we are going to raid out to them, and I hope you all have a fantastic night. Let's see if this raid actually works. I always have the worst luck trying to get a raid to actually happen, don't I? Yeah, always.